Wow, what a day. What an opportunity to learn some things about what works and what doesn't work. What an opportunity this has been today. Because I was not premature in getting on this Facebook Live. And so all of the things that I had set up ahead of time did not work out smoothly. So here we are, finally live, a lot later than even I tend to be okay with running late. Apologies. Although you're going to get this as a recording. So God bless you. Here we are with truly the perfect opportunity to practice what this day is about: nurturing coherence. And my truth, my inner truth right now is that I'm a little off center because things didn't go smoothly. And so this is my opportunity to not only acknowledge that truth in this moment. You won't have that truth because you will observe a recording. And that's this moment. And how do I then shift it? How do I accept what's in this moment and move into something that's more empowered and empowering and more present? Because I've come to this recording in a certain energy, which is not really my teaching energy. And I'm being in my truth in that moment, and there is coherence, but I want a more grounded and stabilized coherence. So what do? I remind myself, and in this case, I've been giving you some of my mental chatter out loud so that you can follow the dialogue. I've also been reminding myself internally and externally what it takes to get more centered so that I can be choosing how I'm showing up. I can be responsive, and I can actually be, even more than that, I can be directed as opposed to reactive. As a matter of fact, that just now downloaded for me, that just now was a revelation, because what I hear, I imagine that you hear it also, is that we don't want to be reacting, we want to be responding. And I think that, in fact, we're looking for something more directed and intentional, even more so than responding, which is not to say we don't want to be present and responding to the moment, but we want it to have an intentionality, an intention that we come to of our own, as opposed to how we respond to what's in the moment. But who are we? What is our identity, even as we come to any given moment, so that we've already pre-decided who we are and the direction that we want our energy to always be flowing in, regardless of the circumstances or in response to the circumstances. How will I show up so that I can move in the direction that I have pre-chosen and predetermined? And that, I believe, gets us to the first step of what the intention was to talk about today in this live training that I have come to so spontaneously 30 minutes late, 33 minutes late, to actually be able to embody the lesson more completely. So I'm going to go ahead and let my body release some of that energy. The anxiety, not really anxiety, but the I didn't like the fact that things weren't going the way that I had wanted them to. I didn't like knowing that there were things that I could have pre-done differently to have created different results, a different experience at exactly the correct time today. And so my body, my nervous system got into a particular state. My brain got into a particular problem solving kind of energy and pattern. And so right now, because I've been processing that and letting it go, I've been being intentional about how I'm inhaling, taking my breath, being more aware of my feet, my connection to the ground, being sure that I'm showing up in an energy that is more present and grounded. So now my nervous system is resetting, and that energy, that extra anxiety of how do we fix this? How do we survive it? The fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. All of that is saying, let's reset on a physical level, even beyond just the intention that I was holding. So, thank you for letting me breathe that out, give some yawns, reset. Now, can we go through that entire process when we are the keynote speaker of a room of 150, 1,000 people? Probably not. But can we practice that process in the rooms with what do I want to say? With not lower standards. It's not that the standard is lower, but the okay, so it's really just not going to come. But can we practice in more supportive, less potentially hostile environments, so that when we get to the stakes, the lower stakes, not because you aren't important on this call, but because it isn't a live audience where exactly how I show up is so critical. But in this case, it's a more intimate environment where the goal is to have an interactive experience and to practice. And so that's really what I'm doing in this moment, is just showing the behind the scenes so that we can accept that this is part of the process. This is part of reality. This is a potential experience that a person would have. And how do we manage that? Because if what I do is show up and just perform for you, then what am I teaching you? I am teaching you that you should be able to show up and perform at that level, at whatever level that is. And in a way, I am doing that. But instead of it being at high speed and high intensity, I'm walking through the various steps, and I'm walking through them audibly so that I can demonstrate them, not in real time as much as in slow motion time, so that we can grow together, stabilize, and become stronger and more powerful. Because that is the point of the teaching, of the training that I do. And it's for myself This process is for me to become a better teacher so that I can help and support others even more, even while I teach others and transfer skills and experience and knowledge to empower you to go through the steps, not at slow motion speeds, but so that when it happens, you'll be like, oh yeah, this is that thing. I got this. I don't have to learn from scratch. So here we go. I just feel like that's bonus points today for all of us for showing up and making our way through this experience together. So let's get to today's agenda. There isn't anyone watching. Imagine that. I was only 30 minutes late getting started. All perfectly fine. All in perfect timing. So I want to ask you, can you in this moment identify a block that keeps you from connecting deeper to your truest value system? Because values, as I've already mentioned, are part of how we establish how we are going to show up in any and every situation, experience, moment in our lives. And I have indirectly expressed numerous of my values in this first 10 minutes of this video. Did I just come to those? Some of them. Have I spent real time considering my values? I have. Have I come to understand that there were values that I wasn't expressing, once I realized I wasn't expressing them, but I identified them, that they were actually my values. I just hadn't consciously realized I wasn't expressing them. And then it became priority to shift that. There are other values that we hold that it's not until we evaluate them that we realize, ooh, I'm living that way, but that is not actually a value that I want to continue to support and promote in my life. So how does a person identify a block that keeps you from connecting deeper? And I'm going to suggest it's this thing that's so rare in this day and time, but I'm trying to give you right here, which is presence and silence. Quiet. Listening. When was the last time? And maybe you're a meditator, so maybe you already have a practice, in which case I'm going to encourage you to ask yourself the question, do I truly 100% agree with the statement, I am living 100% in alignment with my soul values and with my life purpose? Do you answer yes? Because if you do, then this exercise is, you are beyond the scope of this exercise. And blessings to you. And if within you There's an uncertainty. There's a thing that says, it's so close, but no, I can tell there's a thing that wants to be said, that wants to be seen, wants to be heard within me that I haven't let come forward yet. Then I'm going to suggest to you, I'm going to offer to you, I'm going to offer that this process of being still, physically, probably physically, not necessarily physically, but in such a way that mentally your intention is to release all energy that is holding a specific form or direction, so that your thoughts relax, so that your thoughts, your brain, your mind isn't trying to find a solution or an answer. It's not asking a question even, but it is simply resting into a state of being. And if you can do that both physically and mentally, what happens is that you come beyond a state of receptivity, inasmuch as the desire to receive or to be in a state of receiving is in itself an energy, in a form, in a pattern. It's an anticipation, it's an expectation. There is an energy that says, I want to receive. And my suggestion is to release even that, but simply to embody and allow for there to be no need for structure, no need for asking, projecting, answering, receiving, but simply to be receptive. And in that, and cycling that, remaining within that, just nurturing that state of presence, where the energy has no purpose to move forward, away, or inward toward, but simply to be. And in that state, to allow the listening of what it is that you have not yet heard, to a conscious level that you can receive and then articulate to yourself about your values, your identity, and how you want to be who you are here to be in this world. There is a deepening of self-trust, of listening, receiving, and believing that the best answer, the truest answer, is within you. And it is not a matter of finding the right one, the right answer. It is a matter of allowing and connecting and resonating with the answer that is right, because it comes from your soul, not from your circumstances or your beliefs. even. Whew. And so that's our first step for today. The second one, connecting to your inner voice. Obviously, these are connected. Essentially, what we've done is to connect with our inner voice. And then how do we move from the embodiment, the resonating with, the yes, this is my truth. And now that I am more clear consciously, mentally about my truth, and I've had the experience, the physical embodied nervous system experience of this is the peace, this is the stillness, this is the power. This is the power of potential that is within my truth. How then do you connect to that inner voice and give it external voice? There are risks to that. And I submit that when you have gotten quiet and you have gotten yourself into coherence with yourself and your truest, deepest values, when you have released your identity that is about being sure that you are right and giving the right answers and the right or best solution, but rather the embodiment of your truest truth that is beyond your human image, mask, or ego. That the only thing left to do is to express it, to allow that to be seen and heard and experienced, not only by others, but also by you, and not only by you, but also by the world around you. And how do we not only find the path, but how do we navigate the corners? How do we navigate the turns? How do we navigate moving from this way of being to a different way of being? We accept that it's a process and a practice. We have a vision. We even have an experience of who we are, our truest truth. And we have a practice of not being 100% in that all of the time. Because we just revealed it to ourselves. We just experienced it within ourselves to a higher level, a deeper level, a more coherent level. And now how do we move from here to there? Not going to lie. Some people get there just by nature. Absolutely. It's absolutely possible. It absolutely makes sense because as we change our energy, things naturally fall into place over time. Unless old patterns show up that are stronger in moments of stress or need. And because the new way of being is less familiar and less practiced, at least in this moment, even though it has more truth, the other has more practice and presence, and we revert to the old way of being. The former, the more present, the more you get it, right? So this is where having specific ways of moving through the transition are so helpful. And as a person who has navigated some tremendous identity shifts, I can tell you that it's absolutely possible to do it, absolutely possible to do it on your own, and absolutely beneficial to be sure that as you do, you have support structures, you have relationships that are supportive to you, preferably interactive relationships, not just ones where you're consuming or listening or observing, but actually getting to interact with supportive systems that are going to help you and encourage you along your way, because there you get a little bit of friction, or when there's friction, you get the support. And either way, you have a chance to be encouraged as you transform from one way of being as practice to a new way of being as practice. So that's some theory in a very practical sense. How do we give voice? We give voice through the breath. We give voice through the breath, by being aware of our physical being and being aware that our entire voice, our entire body, and all of our energy, our mental energy, our emotional energy, our spirit and soul energy, our practiced energy patterns, our identity, are expressed through our voice. Our body is our voice, not just this mechanism here in the throat, but our mind, our imagination, our intention, our creativity, and our entire physical body and the field of energy around it. In this moment, I can tell you that I am aware. I'm standing on a tile floor, and I can literally bring my awareness as I am speaking to the floor vibrating because of the energy that is vibrating within my body as I speak, as I elocute, as I make my vocal cords vibrate with energy and air. And my body resonates with that energy, and that energy is literally going out and being dispersed into not only the air around me, not only the walls around me and the windows and the surfaces around me out here, but literally I feel it in my knees right now, and I feel it in my feet, and I feel that connection between my feet and the floor, because that is the level of energy that I am creating and giving through my body to my spiritual voice, my energetic voice. It's not just a matter of moving air through the throat. It can be that. But those of us who are limiting ourselves, who are keeping ourselves, who have never had the experience, it's not that we're doing anything wrong. We just haven't had the experience. We've not had anyone embody for us a different way of being. We haven't had anyone around us model, certainly not in a strong and gentle way in most cases. And this is the experience that I have had the privilege to learn in my life, in my journey, and it is the one that I invite you to continue with me. I'm going to be doing a class. Please check it out. Even if this video ends up, this recording ends up being, in the past, look into it. Let your voice be heard. Let your voice be connected. Let there be more energy in your presence, more truth in your connection to your true message, your soul, your real energy, and allow that to flow through your voice. Be aware of your body as the entire mechanism. Not the entire, not as in the complete, because there's more to it, but the entire body and your intention. I didn't mention breathing specifically. I did mean to mention breathing, but I don't want to extend this video longer than it already is. But there are other trainings, and we will be back to do this again. And God help me, I will get this technology figured out, and I will do what I need to do so that you can catch me live and we can do this together in that kind of way. In the